can you honestly believe that we're going to see some actual county cricket? Well, some of us will see some actual county cricket over the course of the next few weeks.
Yeah, do you know, we're incredibly excited here at the cricket club to finally get some cricket very close to being underway. I think if you'd have asked me that question maybe 3 months ago, I think we may have struggled to have got the fixture list up and running. It was looking, as time marched on, it looked like that cricket would almost be cancelled for a year, which would have been a tragedy, of course. But I've got to say that the ECB, the clubs, have all kind of worked together and worked incredibly hard to work through the issues that have been faced to ensure that cricket's up and running. And I think you know, the efforts that they've put in is to be applauded, because cricket is not awash with cash. So all the testing, the protocols, the guidelines, that they all add extra expense to actually any stadium. And football has gone through that, and I dare say that will have not been cheap. And the same applies to cricket grounds. You know, to do that is not cheap. But we're good to go now. You know, us here in Leicestershire have had tremendous support from our local authority. You know, our chief executive of the city council, he basically sort of said he was excited about cricket being played here, and we had an added complication of the local lockdown. But we've worked, you know, the team here have worked really, really hard to get it on. And I think our first home game is going to be against Derbyshire here at the Fisher County Ground, I think the 8th of August. So
you are going to be able to play all your games, you think, at Grace Road, at the Fisher County Ground?
Yeah, no reason why not. We are prepared. We have done everything possible. You know, the ECB commissioned some architects to come around all the grounds and give us advice as to how it could work with a visiting team and the umpires, etc. And we followed that. We followed that to the letter. So for us, we're good to go. We're ready. We're up and running. Players are excited. So yeah, you know, we've got to be careful of injuries during the game. So there's been some mitigation in terms of what we do, how we play during the matches. But for us, you know, we're keen as mustard. Just let you know, the mustard colour of my shirt. You know, so we're keen to get going. And I think you know, bring it on.
What has the conversations between county execs, chairmen been like, and how cooperative have everyone been? Obviously, there will have been some who will have wanted to play white ball and not red ball, and some who weren't really bothered too much either way. Can you give us, with obvious caveats for confidentiality, but a general idea of those conversations and how it's been structured in the months leading up to the decision?
Yeah, they've been very, conversations have been incredibly thorough and detailed in the approach to make sure that cricket is doing the right thing. You know, a lot of the counties will have different opinions and different views on what should happen. And we were no different to that. We had our opinions and our views. We always said that it was incredibly important for the collective. So in other words, you know, when the votes came as to what we needed to do or what we were going to do, that we would go with the collective. And I think, you know, I'm delighted to see that has been the case all the way through. So the debates have been healthy, they've been lively, and I think they've been challenging. But what I've seen in cricket is a real uniform approach to actually trying to get the solution. They all know what the end goal is, and just posing those questions. So for me, it's been fascinating to watch. There's no one-upmanship or anything like that. It's all been different opinions that have got to where we are. And some clubs have got huge memberships that have an appetite for 4-day cricket. Others haven't. Some have got a real appetite to play the T20. So So, there's not one size fits all, but we've actually worked really hard. And that's been a weekly Zoom conference call with all the chief execs of the counties, working through the detail to get where we are. It hasn't been easy. I would say it's been incredibly complex. And the ECB and the staff at the ECB are to be applauded, because they've not only had to deal with 18 opinionated chief execs, but also the backdrop of the test matches. So that can't have been easy for them. So, but we've got there in the end, and I think now it's a case of let's get the game on and do what we can, and hopefully edge towards stage 5 and getting fans back into the grounds.
See, we're seeing some fans in a limited amount in a couple of friendlies, and today the ECB have said that they'll also be allowing a couple into the Oval and to Edgbaston for the first round of the Bob Willis. There's still any hope among you chief executives that fans will be allowed in limited capacity during the blast on a wider scale?
Yeah, I think it's a real difficult question to answer, because you never know, as we've seen in places like Spain, where they're having sort of spikes and things like that. So you've got to be incredibly cautious in terms of what we're doing, and especially here in Leicestershire with the local lockdown that we've had. That said, we're probably the safest area in the country right at this moment in time. So I think you almost have to follow government advice, and the government advice is great in terms of encouraging these tests, these pilots, and we hope that they provide the right kind of results and the right guideline for the ECB and the government. But if I'm honest, I'm not so sure we would see stage 5 in cricket. I think we will possibly run out of time to get stage 5 into grounds, which you would think is October time. There may be the opportunity in the finals for the T20 competition, but I wouldn't say I was confident in that. I'm hopeful but not confident. I think you'd probably see more crowds going back to football when they begin, probably October time, November time, depending again on what happens with the R rate and all those sorts of things. So hopeful, but I wouldn't say confident on it. I would say optimistic is my view.
And how does that affect a club like Leicestershire, who will generate a huge amount of its annual revenue through gate receipts and assorted spend for those blast matches? So, what sort of cost is it to you, and are you worried about the financial implications of 2010?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this situation, I think I've gone on press and saying that effectively the COVID situation has probably cost us a minimum of 1 million in terms of revenue that could be generated. And that's not just spectators turning up to matches. It also is the function rooms, the facilities, the ground. We had 2 concerts planned here for the Fisher County ground. So losing those has been big hammer blows to us. So it's absolutely critical that we get fans, supporters, spectators, and sport is not, as we've seen, it's great, but it's not the same without spectators. So it's massively important that we get people back into the stadium, but only when it's safe to do so. So for us, from October, it'll be hard work for us, because then we go all the way through to April without having any cricket matches, if you like. So we've got to be creative. We've got to push the boundaries on what we can do to generate income into the club. So it is hugely important, and I think we've got through this situation by 2 things really financially. One, the support of the ECB and their central funding that has been an absolute godsend, and the job retention scheme. We furloughed 75% of our staff to help us really to protect the longer term future of Leicestershire County Cricket Club, which has worked in the short term. We've then got to come out of the COVID lockdown, and we've got to come out fighting and ready to go, of which we've prepared a roadmap for that, and it's now just a case of us delivering it and making sure we can make that happen.
With clubs like Leicestershire, it's always that a smaller size, respectfully saying, the smaller size in the county system might not over time be able to fulfil all aspects of what we now know of the county schedule. Do you think that there is any danger of it? And if so, if that danger has been exaggerated by what's happened this year? Saying,
Yeah,
is red ball cricket still viable for counties like Leicestershire from 2021 onwards?
yeah, it's a challenge. The red ball game is a challenge, is a financial challenge, because as we know, you'll have a 4-day game here, and we may get 500 people in to watch the match, and that becomes a financial strategy and difficulty for the club. So we have to be conscious of that. But at the end of the day, we do have a real appetite for 4-day cricket here at Leicestershire. So I think it's important that we do what we can to feed that machine at the very highest level of the game. We've got a strong cricket team for England, and it generates income into the game. So for us, it's important that on the level that we're at, is that we do support it and do what we can. I think for the clubs, they just have to be a bit more creative in their approach to try and generate income on the back of the 4-day game. What the answers are to that, I'm not sure yet. We're going to work. I'm on a steep learning curve with cricket, so I hope to bring some ideas to the party on what we can do and how we can develop it. But yeah, the T20 game is the cash cow, and being the most successful T20 side, it's important to us. But so is the 4-day game. We believe in that, and our position as a cricket club is what we call the Academy of Cricket. And what I mean by that is we're a club that we want to develop talent. We want to attract individuals beginning their journey of cricket, and that can come here and learn and develop and defy the odds and get into, if they may have been rejected by another county, is get into first class cricket and hopefully break through into the England squad in future. So for us, it's about developing that talent, and if that's 4-day, great. If that's the 1-day game, even better, no problem.
I mean, development is obviously a key part of Leicester's history, and it's always good to hear that there is an attitude like that. But how easy is it going to be? I mean, I've spoken to some chief executives who are thinking that there's every chance they might have to cut wage bills by 10 to 20% next year. And rather than actually giving people a pay cut, that might mean not bringing on as many people in 2021 on youth contracts or graduate contracts as they may previously have done. So how easy will it be for Leicestershire to give those chances to young people whilst recognising that it's got a squad already that it needs to keep in employ? It can't be an easy balance.
Yeah, it is a challenge. There's no doubt about that. We as a club will be in an element of transition as well. I would anticipate 1 or 2 of our players, their contracts will come to an end at the end of this year. We may lose 1 or 2 of our players to other counties if that happens. But I think, for us, it is about attracting the right kind of talent to join the club. And I think we've got to unearth those people that are out there that we believe have got the potential, and there's plenty of them out there. So we can actually arguably use the COVID situation that maybe if some counties are releasing some of their lesser known players, that then we understand them, we believe they can fit into our model, and then we can develop them. So that isn't necessarily doing things on the cheap, but it's kind of identifying that talent, developing that talent, and getting real bang for our buck. We are one of the smaller counties in cricket. There's no hiding from that, but we've got a great heritage. Our DNA is about developing some of the best cricketers, and two of them I can spring to mind have been captains of England, and that's Stuart Broad and David Gower. So we've got good heritage in that, and we want to continue that. And so we have to use our knowledge, our decision-making processes in terms of our team to identify those players and bring those players into our structure. And with people like Ali Maiden, our academy director, ensure that we are attracting players at that level as well. You know, I'm very keen to identify players all around the UK that can come in, can fit in with our academy, can learn with our academy, and then actually move into the what's called the second 11, but I like to call it our elite development team, whereby they kind of then evolve and get into that first team. So our pathway is going to be strong, and that's important for us. And I think that will be a bit of our identity as a cricket club, I think.
We talk a bit about the process of setting up biosecure county cricket. Can you give an indication of how much it has cost to make the Fisher County Ground biosecure and to do the relevant testing? I mean, what does it cost a county?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're monitoring all the costs as we go along. We're still doing some bits and pieces now. So we have some signage to put up ready for that 8th of August. We have some bits and pieces around the room, the food, even the packaging around the food, things like that. So it's gonna add up into the tens of thousands without question. What that will be at the end of it, I'm not too sure, but we've kind of got a budget around between 50 and 100,000 to make sure we're secure. Stewarding, things like that are all additional. We've chatted to local residents about people coming to watch who are not allowed in, things like that. So we've got to be careful, and we've got to be conscious, things like, you know, all these issues, and each one kind of adds to the bottom line, you know, of how much it costs. So we are monitoring it. We're not there yet, but in answer to your question, I guess you're looking between 50 and 100,000 pounds.
Obviously an expense as well that you would never have previously been able to put into a budget. So you've got to find that from somewhere when you're having no income. It's got to be tough.
Dead right, and that's the thing, and that's something that we've had to deal with. You know, it's a case of health and safety to make the ground secure, and you know that is a cross we have to bear. So it's got to be done for us to play cricket, and yeah, it is a big cost for Leicestershire, but I would say that the support of the sponsors and the members has been phenomenal. Even today, I had a letter that came through to me, and somebody had donated 100 quid. So all those little donations are really, really useful and worth their weight in gold for the cricket club.
And will you be streaming your matches to members online, or to more than members? What's the plan for people to be able to watch Bob Willis T20 Blaster?
Sure, our plan is to stream it, and stream it free through YouTube. You know, one of the things that we really want to do is expand our fan base, develop our relationship and our engagement with the community. So for us as a club, we are very keen to make it as available as we can. I know some clubs are giving it to members only, doing it pay-per-view and things like that. But for us, I think it's about, well, do you know what? People have had a tough time over the COVID situation. If they want to watch cricket, let's make it available and ready for people to watch as best we can. So I think our streaming will be FOC.
And finally, you talked about it being a bit of a baptism of fire for you. You weren't formally the chief executive of this club until about 2 months into this crisis. Do you think that you've got your feet under the table yet? Do you think that you're settled? You're still learning as you go?
Yeah, Sam, it's a good question. It's a huge learning curve, and yes, there are things that my expertise of football can probably bring to the party, but there's still an awful lot to do here at Leicestershire. We have got tremendous staff here, real committed staff, and it is being done on a shoestring budget, limited budget, so they're working extremely hard. You know, pay tribute to the ground staff and the commercial behind the scenes, those who are not furloughed. So they're doing kind of jobs of 4 or 5 people at the moment. But I think for us, this is the beginning of a new chapter. This is about us rediscovering who we are as a cricket club. This is about us using this opportunity to really look at root and branch of what we've done. There are still some areas of development, still some areas that cause us concern. But I think what we're seeing is that there's now an appetite and desire for us as a club to move forward. And me personally, I'm here to provide, I guess, a new energy, a new direction to the club. And already, I would hope by law of osmosis, I can see the commercial manager, she's enjoying it. You know, we've got a couple of members of staff have come off furlough recently. They're enjoying it. So we're putting smiles on people's faces as well. You know, they may be wiped off when we get beat for our first or second game, but we're going to give it our best shot, and you never know. We are the challengers of cricket. We are not a fancied and brand of the biggest level. We're not a huge cricket club, but we've got tremendous heritage. And I think what we want to do is snap at the heels of those big boys and prove we can compete. And you know, we've done it in the past. We can do it again in the future. And you know, there is a new breed of foxes coming through this cricket club. And whilst the immediate term, the short term, may not give us the results that we want, I am certain over medium to long we'll begin to have a real cricket club that we can all be proud of here.